Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, Where Truth Matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You know, you can find us on the radio at icradio.media. You can also find us on television, channel 182, Charter Communications Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And I'm just like AP, or I'm on all the social media sites. You name it, I'm on it. AP Steadham is with us right now. AP, as we see it. So good to be with you. So glad that show comes on every Friday. Football Friday at 4
p.m. Central. IC Radio, AP, as we see it. We'd love to be on your station, Don, and all your other platforms. We really appreciate it. And, man, did we have a football weekend.
Did we, though? So let's go ahead and get started. What was your surprise? Yeah. Which was the surprise game of the week?
I think the surprise game of the week, I think two, Donna, they stand with each other because the score that Alabama beat LSU in Death Valley, almost 30 points, 42-13, and then Georgia on the road in Oxford versus Ole Miss, 28-10. I thought both games would be very competitive, maybe come down to the last few minutes. Mm-hmm. So it was amazing to see those two teams, Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, Donna, he has trouble against these top 5 teams, top 25 teams. So I think that might be his biggest win all time in his career, I think, maybe. Beating Georgia, highly ranked in the top 5 and hosting them at Oxford. But he built a team this year, Donna, with his transfers from the portal and the newcomers that had the size and the length, especially on the defensive side, to do some good things. And they shut down Georgia. And Georgia's had trouble all year long, Donna. We mentioned it week after week. They cannot run the ball effectively. I think they ended up with 59 yards total rushing. And Carson Beck has been throwing interceptions at quarterback for Georgia. He threw one on Saturday. And so they just manhandled Georgia. And you don't hear that said many times. And then, of course, in Baton Rouge, Alabama over 300 yards rushing. At the point of attack, the offensive line was dominant for Alabama. Jalen Milroe, 3 or 4 touchdowns. He had a nice about 75-yard run on the right sideline. And when he took off, no one could catch him. He's one of the fastest athletes on the field, plus he's very big and strong. So even if you catch him, you have to get him on the ground. But he had a very good game running the football and threw enough times to keep the defense honest, and Alabama ran away with that game, Donna. I've never seen Tiger Stadium so many people disappear. And they had the Tiger in the stadium, Donna. They had the Rent-A-Tiger. It wasn't Mike from outside. They have the special facility for him outside. They had a different Tiger come into the stadium, but the Tiger was no match for the elephant.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I'm just telling you, since the first part of the season to now, right now, I mean, everything has been just it's almost shaken up. It's been jumbled.
Yes, it's amazing. The tiebreaker consultant who's going to try to figure out who's the top 2 teams in the SEC, they will earn every penny. Because, as you said, there's so many teams that are beating each other. You have to figure it out, the common opponents, the head-to-head, the strengths of schedule. And I don't know how it's all going to work out, Donna, because you still have Texas play Texas A&M, and this week another huge ball game for Georgia. They have the 2 losses now. They're going to face Tennessee. Tennessee's right in the thick of things, as we know. They defeated Mississippi State over the weekend, 33-14.
And this is from Ron, who sent a message. Ron wants to know why. Apparently, he's a Georgia fan. So if Georgia has 2 losses, why did they drop down so low in the polls this week?
Yeah, we don't know. Those are probably the coaches poll, the AP poll, the Football Writers Association poll. Let me see. I have Georgia 11th on the 2 polls that I'm looking at, the Associated Press and the Football Writers Association America. I mean, I think maybe because of the margin of victory. They scored the 10 points and Ole Miss had 28. So maybe it's the margin of victory. It's hard to determine the voters and what inclines them to move somebody down quite a few spots. But the main ranking that matters, Donna, is the one that comes out every Tuesday moving forward from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. So the other polls, they're nice to look at, but right now, they don't mean anything because the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, Donna, they do not look at those polls. They have their own set of criteria and how they judge and evaluate teams. So I would say your friend from Georgia, wait till this Tuesday and this week to see what happens with the College Football Playoff Selection. In Georgia, hey, they're playing Tennessee. They still have games on the schedule that matter. They're critical.
What are they going to have to do to make this work against Tennessee?
I think they have a little more balance down. They've got to figure out, if you don't throw in the football, Donna, can you throw some short passes to supplement your downfield passing? So a short pass is like a run because you're trying to gain, let's say your goal is to average 5 yards per rush. Can you throw some 4 and 5 yard passes with the option for the person to break away and gain more? So I would say they have to have some balance in the short game, and they're trying to throw the football down the field. Georgia, they haven't been able to run. That's uncharacteristic of a Georgia Bulldog team.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like everybody was on the top now is getting close to the bottom. And then a lot of people who are evolving are coming out and they're blooming. Wow. So
yeah, it's a long season.
So who's at the top of the list right now, in your opinion?
Right. Yeah. Donna, right now, Tennessee is rated the highest in these two polls that I'm looking at. They're rated 6th in the AP poll, Associated Press, and they're rated 5th in the Football Writers Association of America. So I would think there's a chance for Tennessee and Alabama at this point to be the top. Well, actually, Texas is still number 3 because they had the bye. So Texas is still above Tennessee, but Texas and Tennessee right now are the top 2 in the conference. Texas is number 3 in both those polls I mentioned, AP and the Football Writers Association of America. So we can't forget Texas, but they do have to play Texas A&M at the end of the year. That'll be at College Station.
Mm-hmm. Now, Texas A&M kind of put on a show this week.
Well, Texas A&M, Donna, they have a good football team. They can play defense sometime, but South Carolina a couple weeks ago put it on them. It was tied 20-20, and South Carolina I think I would categorize South Carolina down. They may be one of the surprise teams of the conference besides Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt lost this week, but South Carolina, they've been playing pretty tough. Most of their opponents, except Ole Miss, came to town and beat them. I think it was a pretty big score. That was one bad game for them. LSU beat them at home as well, but it was a tight ball game. But Texas A&M, they normally play pretty good defense, but they have to get on track this week because that South Carolina game a couple weeks ago, I'm sure left a bad taste in their mouth. And they want to stay in contention because, they were undefeated in the conference, Don. They were an undefeated team in the conference. So this weekend they'll be playing New Mexico State at home, so they need to win that game. And I'm pretty sure they will. Although New Mexico State last year went to Auburn and upset them with Diego Pavia as the quarterback.
Yeah, a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
Is it because of the change within the division because we actually have more teams? Could that be an effect?
Well, I think, Texas and Oklahoma coming on board. Texas is one of the top teams, as I said, the top team in the Southeastern Conference at the moment. So, yeah, they presented some problems for people, of course. But I think, Donna, it's the leveling out of the talent when you have all these transfers between the schools. So Ole Miss, for instance, they had a lot of transfers, maybe the most in the country, or at least in the SEC. They were able to improve defensively. Now, Lane Kiffin normally has good offensive teams, but defensively they lacked the ability to shut down a team or stop the team in critical moments. So really it's that transfer portal, but you have to be smart, Donna, as the general manager of evaluating talent and see if somebody could fit into your program. So it's the rules. To answer your question, it's the rules in college football that has changed the win-loss column for all these teams.
I think so too. And I'm going back to the private businesses, okay, who are, because there was a time I remember my grandparents always saying, now when you get a job, you get in there and you stick with it and you retire with them. That was the way it was back in their day.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get that gold watch after your service. That was the thing back in their day.
yeah.
But it's not like that anymore, not even in the
No,
business.
no. I think, Donna, in this day and age, if you're doing your best for someone and then you happen to leave, I think when you look back, that person maybe are disappointed that you're moving on. But if you did your best, I think that is all you can ask for in this present day and age, whether it's in athletics or business. Do your best and leave a good impression, and don't burn any bridges.
That's the key. Don't burn bridges. You never know when you may have to cross that bridge again.
Never cross that bridge again. Correct. So college football the same way. It's really professional football. It's just not as organized on the business side, Donna, but it is professional football, college athletics now, because you're being paid or having the chance to earn money, and you can move around and you have that freedom. So unless college football wants to write some rules that they think cannot be challenged in court, it's going to remain the same, Donna.
But something, when people move around like that, it just, I know maybe if I'm from the old era, but when people move around like that, it just seems to do something to affect the effectiveness of the team, I think. Because again, I'm kind of from that old era though. You get with somebody, you stick with them, blah, 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 and I would just like to see, that's just Donna's opinion, I would like to see a little bit more, let's stick to it, to a particular team, at least give it more of a try, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, when you're bringing in new people, Donna, they have to learn the system. Can
That's
they
it.
grasp it from day one? Can they grasp it? Maybe you're playing your toughest opponent the first game, and you have all these new people, and they have not grasped the system. You might lose. That's the chances that you take. But also, you're banking on the fact that you're trying to improve a significant amount to change your ability to win ball games. So there's a balance there, Donna, and that's the way it is. You can't change it right now. And until college football as a group gets together and tries to legislate some boundaries, this is college football.
Yeah, we're trying to
It's
kind
going to
of
be
change
fluid.
the rules and make up. We're having to have new rules as we go along.
Yeah.
Now, remember in the business world, if I had, Phil and I used to own 8 Nextel locations in Alabama. So if I had someone who had worked for my competition, I would really vet them. I'm telling you, I would really, because I didn't want somebody else's old habits that didn't work for their company. And so there were some I did, some I was like, no, we're not going to hire that person. And so you have to be really, really careful when somebody, like you just said, the core ground rules of a football team has to be different for each team.
Right. So you have your culture and your philosophies,
Right.
and the way this transfer rule is enacted and applied, Don, sometimes you don't have enough time to vet people. So you're relying on information from the high school coaches.
Yeah.
And there's talk in the business amongst assistant coaches all the time. So maybe they have friends on that staff. And to me, if I was on a staff and somebody called me, I would give an honest opinion, because I want to be able to call them and ask for an honest opinion as well. Now, if they did not give me a true evaluation, I wouldn't call them in the future, and then I probably wouldn't take their phone calls. So my feeling is I'm going to be truthful when I'm discussing an individual. That way, when I have to call that coach, assistant coach, about an individual on their team that's considering transfer to my school, it would be truthful and valuable.
I totally get that. I had someone who called me about a former employee that we had once. And I said, well, and I asked a question, because the person I found out had been doing drugs. And we just started noticing a difference in her demeanor, what have you. So, and I don't want to give like a nasty, bad reference, but I did ask the question, and it was with a medical facility. And all I asked was, would she be in charge of any kind of drugs within that facility?
That's all.
they said yes. And I said, don't hire her. And so they didn't hire because this had something to do with medicines and things like that. And I didn't want to watch other people suffer because she might get into it. So sometimes you have to be honest, but there are ways you can do it. There are ways you can be honest.
Yes. You have to, where you phrase the question. Correct.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and cut to a commercial break, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. That's a good argument, though. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain-fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth definitely does matter. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Time, as we get to ride home with you in the afternoon. I have AP with me right now, AP as we see it. And man, your guests have a very big perspective also on your show. So let's talk about last week's show.
Yeah, last week, Donna, we discussed Ole Miss because they were playing Georgia. So we have Leanne Herring on. She's the director of recruiting for Rebel Walk. She's very knowledgeable about Ole Miss. And, of course, they came up with a big, huge victory. That's the biggest victory that I can recall for this Ole Miss team under Lane Kiffin. They had been upset by Kentucky at Oxford. I covered that game earlier in the season. But now they're flying high with that win over Georgia, who was highly ranked. So we have Leanne Herring on, director of recruiting for Rebel Walk. Then we had Jacques Doucet, who's the sports director for the TV station in Baton Rouge, to discuss the Alabama versus LSU game. So we tried to focus in on the two biggest games of the last weekend, and they both turned out unexpectedly large margins of victory for Alabama and Ole Miss. So those were our two guests last week. And people can check those out on our YouTube page for our show and my personal YouTube page and all the stations. But we love being here on IC Radio Friday, 4 p.m. Central, Football Friday.
That's a great time right there to get it going. Okay, so let's talk about this coming weekend. What's happening and what's your focus?
Yeah, this weekend, Donna, another big game for Georgia. They had that upset last week at Ole Miss. They are hosting Tennessee, who's a hot team, highly ranked, big rivals, as we know. Georgia's been on top of that matchup for a while now. Last year, they pummeled Tennessee up in Knoxville. Now, Tennessee might have the upper hand, feeling good about themselves. So they travel to Athens, Georgia. We're going to have John Freeman Nelson. He's over in Atlanta. He's going to discuss Georgia for us, and we hope to have somebody for Tennessee as well. But that's the big game this weekend in the SEC, Tennessee versus Georgia. If you look at Auburn, they're coming. We always talk about Auburn, of course. Auburn and plays Louisiana Monroe, so they have to win that game. There's no, you can't be losing to Louisiana Monroe and hang around very long if you're the Auburn coach. But they had the bye last week, and then of course Tennessee plays Georgia. Alabama plays Mercer after coming up to that big victory over LSU. So that's a game they should win. So those are the three teams we normally discuss, and those are their opponents. But Don, I was wondering, we always ask, and I'll wait for you to ask me about the top five. You tell me when you want me to give you the top five.
I'm aching. I want to hear it.
Here we go. In the Associated Press, we have Oregon, number 1, and the Football Writers are the same. Ohio State, number 2 in both polls. Texas, number 3 in both polls. Penn State, number 4 in both polls. I'll take that back. Penn State is number 4. Indiana, Don, is a new team. They won the 10th game. Never had won the 10th game before. They beat Michigan 20-15. And they're number 5 in the Associated Press, number 4 in the Football Writers Association. Tennessee's number 6 in the AP. They're number 5 in the Football Writers. Alabama, number 9 and number 8. Ole Miss is number 10 in both of them. Georgia 11th in both. A&M 15 in both. LSU 21. South Carolina 23. Missouri 24. And that's the Associated Press. That's 1 through 25. Football Writers is only 1 through 16 down. Yeah.
Well, one thing is true that you've always said. Well, you've said a lot of true things, but I'm saying this is one I'm really banking on. Is football games are not predictable. I mean, they go up and down the ranks, that kind of thing. But as of right now, as it stands, what's going to be in the bowls? What's going to happen there?
Yeah, the bowls, Donna, the bowl situation, Donna, the 6 big bowls, they're going to be a playoff site. in that second round. The first round, you're going to have teams 5 through 12 playing each other on the campus site. So 5 will play 12, 11 will 6, and so forth and so on. Then you get to that second round, and you're going to have games played at the Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and the Rose Bowl. So that'll be the second one. Then the semifinals, Donna, will be the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. And then the championship game will be back in Atlanta. So that means the Peach Bowl will double host. Here's one thing I want to tell you, Donna, so people will not be confused. They're going to rank the 5 best conferences, 1 through 5. Then the 5th team, so they'll rank that 1 through 4. They have the buys. The top team, let's say in the SEC, they'll be ranked Big 10, I think, Big 12, probably the ACC. Then the 5th conference may be the Mountain West, American Athletic. We don't know. But that 5th team, Donna, then they're going to be ranked within the top 25. So you're thinking you're team number 12 because there's 12 teams in the playoff. You're all set. But no. The 5th rated conference team may be number 18, but they're going to slide into number 12 because they earned a berth by the rules to be the 12th team, even though they're ranked 18th. So don't get caught being ranked 12th because you're not part of the 12 teams. The possibility that you could be knocked out by a conference that's ranked below 12.
There's a lot of possibilities out there. And I'm gonna ask you a question. This one I know is gonna hurt. Let's talk about the Iron Bowl. Okay. I know that, actually both teams haven't necessarily done so much where they can write home about, but I'm saying poor Auburn. I mean, I'm pretty sure Phil and I won't be speaking with each other this Iron Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Auburn has struggled mightily, Don. They surely have. And Alabama will be hosting the Tigers at the end of November, Thanksgiving weekend. So, and they're trying to make a playoff drive, and they're in a good place right now, having beaten LSU on the road. They play Mercer. Alabama has to face Oklahoma on the road. Oklahoma team that's struggling offensively. Alabama should be a favorite in that ball game. Auburn, the rest of their schedule, Donna, they have to play Louisiana Monroe, as I said, and then they host Texas A&M, who's a team also making a playoff run, but Auburn's hosting them. So, yeah, the winnable game right now is Louisiana Monroe and Texas A&M and Alabama. They will be probably double-digit underdogs, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But you know what? There's still something about that Iron Bowl, about the Alabama-Auburn game, because I've seen this happen before. So the Auburn could be losing every game in the season, but there's some kind of momentum that happens during that particular ball game.
Right. I think sometime, Donna, when you're in that position, you can relax.
Maybe
and you're not on edge, and then you can open up your playbook. You could have some trick plays, and defensively, you're playing fast and loose because you realize we're big underdogs. Nobody expects us to play very well.
They are.
and the pressure is for instance, will be on Alabama because they want to stay in the playoff hunt. So if you can stay close for halftime and you get into that fourth quarter, it's a 1-score game, then it becomes 1 turnover, 1 drive, and you could be on top. But that's a long way to that fourth quarter down. That's a lot of minutes in between where you have to sustain and compete and have things in your favor.
But even with that, I still wouldn't bet on on Alabama winning. I would never bet on that game ever. Of course, I don't bet anyway. AP, thank you so much for being with us. It's always so good to be with you. AP, as we see it, can't wait for Football Friday at 4. Absolutely.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Donna, so much. My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Donna.